NAACP just told Black athletes to walk away from million-dollar opportunities over a political fight that has nothing to do with whether or not they can walk into a voting booth.
The NAACP is calling for Black student athletes and fans to boycott Southern college sports programs amid redistricting backlash. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and NAACP CEO Derek Johnson urging the boycott during a press conference. Listen.
We decided to take this course of action because we see this course of action be successful in the past.
In the absence of fairness as it relates to Black political representation, there should be no athletic participation as it relates to institutions that are housed in states that are experiencing a dramatic return to racially oppressive Jim Crow-like tactics.
Joining me now is the CEO of the Brewer Group, Jack Brewer. And Jack, this is, of course, all over the Supreme Court's recent decision that bars states from using race as a predominant factor when it comes to redistricting. So what do you think about this? Should Southern schools be worried?
Not at all. I think this is ridiculous. I mean, you see them pandering to race, and you're putting into these young Black boys' minds that they're victims. And that's what's happening with Hakeem Jeffries and his whole band of, I don't know, I call it foolishness. But it's just ridiculous to be talking about this. These are the issues that the NCAA is thinking about right now, heading into a football season. I mean, the NAACP, they profit off of this. They profit off of division. They profit off of a victimhood mentality that they're pushing to these kids. But they're not talking about the actual communities that are being represented. All these communities, the majority of them are these districts or poor. Majority of these districts have poor education that they're sticking these same kids in. These kids are having to overcome from living in these districts. They have to be, the cream of the crop. They got to make sure they stay out of trouble because they got drugs infested in their communities. They're reading a math proficiency level in the schools that they're going to in these same districts that they're talking about are in the tanks. And so they're not talking about that, though. Instead of the elected officials being in the school system trying to fix it, or being in the criminal justice system trying to bring rehabilitation program to all these fatherless kids, they don't talk about that. They're talking about pushing the cream of the crop, which are the NFL players or the NCAA players and the Major League Baseball players and the kids that are coming out to play basketball. They're going to take those kids that have already overcome and they're going to use them as their pawns. It's not right. Something needs to happen in this country right now. I'm going into juveniles. I'm going into the prisons and seeing really the effects of these policies that these Democrats are pushing, and it's sickening.
The same organization asking these kids to sacrifice stayed completely silent while those same athletes generated billions for schools with zero compensation. They didn't show up with them. So why are they showing up now? If you are a Black parent, a Black voter, or anyone in this community who has ever been told what to think, who to vote for, or what to fight for, this video is for you. If you don't know the full story, you are going to keep getting played. By the end of this video, you have the facts, the real timeline, and the clear language to see exactly how this works, so you can protect your children from being used as political tools. Every time we march when they say march and stay silent when they need us silent, we hand over a little more power and get nothing back in return. The NAACP launched a campaign called Out of Bounds. They are asking Black college athletes to boycott SEC and ACC schools across 8 southern states over redistricting. But look at the timeline. Those redistricting maps have been getting redrawn for 6 months. 6 months, family. The NAACP said nothing. Then Congress scheduled a vote on something called the SCORE Act. And I need to explain what that means because it matters directly to these athletes.
Some big changes could be coming to college sports, and they start in Washington. Alabama
Congressman Shamari Figurs is backing a new bipartisan bill that could reshape how student athletes are paid and protected. WSFA 12 News reporter Moni Stevens has more on the SCORE Act.
Lawmakers want national rules on how college athletes get paid through NIL. Alabama Representative Shamari Figurs is leading the push in Congress by introducing the SCORE Act.
The environment and the landscape of college athletics has changed drastically over the past several years, especially since the Supreme Court decision that came out. And there was a huge need here to stabilize what was going on.
The bill goes beyond just paychecks. It ensures student athletes have access to critical support services, including career development resources, comprehensive medical care, and protections for injuries.
So making sure that student athletes are not just prepared to participate on the field or on the court, but making sure that they're there at the end of the day to receive a degree to set them up for long-term success in life.
Figurs says the bill also creates a level playing field for colleges and universities across the country, ensuring every program operates under the same set of rules.
It removes this landscape of what some have referred to as the Wild Wild West of NIL.
Republicans have been in support of the bill, including Senator Tommy Tuberville, who says smaller colleges and universities have been at a disadvantage.
There's some teams that can't afford to do that. We want to make it fair for everybody.
Figurs said there's still work to do, but he's optimistic about where things are headed, and he's all in on getting it right for student athletes and others involved in the process.
There will still be some changes. There's still going to be some things that have to be further discussed, and we're certainly open to doing that and want this bill to be the strongest that it can possibly be to provide the best protections that it can for our student athletes.
The NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. It is simply an athlete's right to make money off of who they are. Their name on a jersey, their face in a commercial, their social media following. For decades, college athletes could not earn a single dollar from any of that, even while their schools were making hundreds of millions of dollars off their talent. Star quarterbacks could sell out a stadium every Saturday and not see a dime. But that changed in 2021. And for Black athletes who come from households without financial safety nets, that NIL money is life-changing. It's not just income. For some of these students, it is the first real wealth their family has ever had access to.
The college basketball season that just ended last night put a spotlight on a series of groundbreaking changes in college sports. One of the most important ones is NIL, or name, image, and likeness. It allows college athletes to get paid for sponsorships, something that was outlawed for more than a century. Kelly O'Grady looks at how NIL can be a challenge for players who have to deal with the new financial reality.
Deja Kelly is the superstar point guard for the Oregon Ducks. In her 5 years at 2 schools, she witnessed the implementation of NIL and fully embraced it.
Move insoles have made a huge difference in my health, in my feet.
She's promoted brands like Forever 21, Tommy Hilfiger, Essential Water, and Uber. She even hosts her own podcast called NAACP.
Smartest thing you have done with your NIL earnings.
Invest. And of course, the podcast has a sponsor.
Let's go ahead and toast.
How did NIL change the opportunities for you personally?
It's just completely changed my life. There's been opportunities that I've gotten that I wouldn't probably get just with basketball alone.
And the money for student athletes is expected to keep rolling in.
How big is the NIL space financially?
I would think of it in terms of billions, not millions.
Cole Gahagan is the CEO of Learfield, a major college sports marketer that works with hundreds of schools and thousands of athletes.
Overnight, these athletes in some cases are coming into big financial sums. What are the types of things in place to help them make good long-term financial decisions?
This wasn't a requirement by the schools, but it was a responsibility that they all accepted early on to help student athletes.
While some institutions provide those resources, it's not required. Deja warns future athletes to be proactive about building their network.
Something that has completely, helped and boosted my knowledge about the whole landscape is having a financial advisor, having an agent, and a team around that really helps me manage my money.
Another person in Deja's court, former basketball coach Teresa Nunn, Deja's business manager and mom.
We just had meeting after meeting after meeting.
Have you seen student athletes in your time make poor business decisions because they don't have that financial support network?
Oh, 100%. And that's why we try to position her in every way we can as a multifaceted student athlete instead of just an athlete, because the student matters too.
Deja, though, is hoping to build a brand beyond basketball.
Would you have been able to do this all without your mom?
Not one bit. Being able to have a parent, a supporter, a coach, a mentor, a momager, all in one, to have someone like that in my corner every single day has just been a blessing.
The SCORE Act would have protected exactly that. The Congressional Black Caucus killed it. Hear me. The SCORE Act would have protected the income and access of our students. But the Congressional Black Caucus killed that bill. They opposed the bill to use it as political leverage against redistricting. The vote was canceled. And then right after that, the Outbounds campaign was launched. They sacrificed legislation that would have put real money and legal protection into the hands of Black athletes to win a political map dispute. Look at that. Who do they care about? Not our students.
All right, so do you wonder what the EBT community is talking about today? Well, I took a look and I didn't like what I saw. Well, apparently they want all Black athletes to boycott the SEC. Now, while I'm an Ohio State Buckeye and I hate the SEC with all my heart, I need you to know I hate the SEC. I don't understand why anybody that's Black would go to a SEC school. It is not based on racism, the reason why I think. Now, they want to pull all Black athletes out the SEC and send them where? Ohio? All right, come on. Boycott the SEC is a horrible decision for any Black athlete, and I'm here to tell you, do not take advice from them. They're going to lead you down a path where you're going to miss out on a career, and you're going to miss out on monetary gain. You're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, they think these boys give a about voting. These boys trying to make it to the league, man. They got their heads on right. Y'all can continue to fight for the dumb shit y'all fight for. Nobody is taking your rights. But boycotting the SEC as a Big Ten fan and an Ohio State Buckeye through and through, I'm all for it.
What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys pulling up today. The NAACP is ridiculous. This is the stupidest thing that I have heard. These people are outrageous. If any of these washed up civil rights organizations think that these young kids are about to forego millions of dollars, and in some cases, you know, maybe it's not millions, maybe it's hundreds of thousands of dollars for this washed up organization that does nothing for Black folks, nothing for the Black community. Anybody still listening to the NAACP in 2026, you are hustling backwards, and they're going to lead you down a path of destruction. You would literally be missing out on generational wealth by listening to these fools. They don't care about you. They do not care about you. You are just a useful idiot in their plot for power. Nothing more, nothing less.
Some breaking news in response to the Supreme Court's gutting of the Voting Rights Act. The NAACP has announced it's now urging Black athletes, football and basketball in particular, to withhold their commitments to schools in the South that have moved to quickly gerrymander, redraw their lines to dilute Black votes. We've seen that happen in Tennessee, Louisiana, and they're moving toward that in South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, potentially elsewhere. The NAACP in its announcement says Black athletes and recruits are asked to withhold their commitments from targeted programs, to ask coaches and athletic directors where their universities stand on voting rights, and to visit and seriously consider HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities.
So you want them to go to HBCUs and miss out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. And HBCUs are some of the most poorly ran universities out there. HBCUs, more times than not, they are a hot mess. Outrageous.
And I want to ask a simple question. If these athletes boycott SEC schools, where exactly do they go? Where? NAACP and the Black Caucus is not going to find positions and placements on teams at various schools. So where do these students go if they boycott SEC schools? The NAACP has done nothing to improve HBCU facilities, funding, or NFL draft access. So you want these kids to leave the best programs in the country for what? For a cause that cannot reverse a Supreme Court decision? You cannot protest your way out of ruling from the highest court in the land. They're not asking wealthy donors or professional athletes to take the financial hit. They're asking 18 and 19-year-old students. Students who in many cases come from poverty and are finally seeing a way out. They're asking them to bear the cost of their political chess move. The entire campaign rests on one message. The black voting rights are being stripped away. A lie. It is a lie. It is still going back to the fear-mongering. We have got to stop allowing these politicians to keep causing us to believe lies. But there is a very important difference between losing the right to vote and losing a majority, minority congressional district. Understand this. The Voting Rights Act still stands. See, they don't tell you all these nuances. It still says clearly that no state or local government can deny or remove the right to vote based upon race. That still stands. That has not been appealed. Contrary to what they are telling you, it's a smokescreen. What is being debated is how congressional district boundaries are drawn, not whether you can cast a ballot. And here is what people are finally saying out loud. Those majority minority districts were not purely about black representation. In many cases, they were about keeping specific politicians in power, keeping certain voices concentrated, contained, and controllable, not for the advancement of black communities, but for the advancement of a political machine that has not benefited us or our communities. When these claims were fact-checked, reviewers call them speculative stretch. The specific law that removes black voting access does not exist. Your vote is not being taken. You can still walk into that booth and vote for whoever you choose. What is being challenged is the system that kept certain politicians in guaranteed seats. Those politicians in those guaranteed seats have sat in them so long that there's a sense of entitlement, whether they're doing anything for the community or not. And they need your fear and your children's future to get those seats back. That's what we're looking at. When an organization uses fear to drive action, ask yourself one question. Who benefits from keeping you afraid? Who benefits from keeping you afraid, family? These are young athletes, many of them 18 and 19 years old. They have worked their entire lives for the opportunity they now have. They earned these scholarships. They built that NIL value. Many of them come from very little and are now, for the first time, able to help their families. And an organization is showing up, telling them to walk away from all of it. Let me be clear about how hard that ask actually is. You're talking about kids from poor backgrounds who finally have something real, kids who in some cases are signing NIL deals that are changing their family's financial trajectory for the first time. And you are asking them to choose between getting their family out of poverty and standing in solidarity with an organization that has not produced measurable results for Black communities in decades. Let them decide. Let them read. Let them think. Some may agree with the NAACP's position. Some may not. But that decision belongs to them, not any organization that has spent more time issuing press releases than building anything real in these communities. And I will say this plainly. We do not need you coming into our churches telling us what to think. We do not need you telling us who to vote for. If the policy and the party are not lining up with Scripture, we are not lining up with you, whether you're Democrat, Republic, or any other party. If you are not lining up with the Word of God, we are not lining up with you or your protests or your campaigns. Our young people do not need to be drafted into someone's political army. They need adults who will protect their future, not trade it away. Stop selling out our children. If this video spoke to you or revealed something to you or made something clearer to you about what's going on in this protest, in this form of manipulation by the NAACP against Black athletes, do 3 things right now. Like this video, share it, because somebody in your circle needs to hear this. And leave a thoughtful comment. I want to know what you think about this issue. The links to every news clip and source related to this topic are in the description below. Go check them out for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Look at the facts and decide. I'm Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. And because family still matters, our ability to think clearly, stand firmly, and refuse to let our children be used as someone else's bargaining chip is not a suggestion. It's a responsibility. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. And I'm going to leave you with this scripture. Proverbs 31 verses 8 through 9 says, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy." May God richly bless you. God bless.